Well, good evening, kids. Welcome. Welcome to The Abyss, episode 12. This is going to be kind of one of those special episodes, not because it's a special, like, live commentary or special event. It's one of those things where there's just one topic that is dominating the news cycle. And, good Lord, you can't escape this. And I heard about what happened over the weekend. I purposely tried to stay away from Twitter and social media because there's going to be so much regurgitation and remuneration and all these theories and people arguing back and forth over social media that I thought maybe by today there'd be a bit more clarity into what's going on. And yet, there doesn't really seem to be a whole lot more clarity. So we're probably going to be revisiting this topic very soon. But as you can see, before we start, I have a special announcement. Those that are on Bitwave probably heard me rattle on about this a little bit, but 90 days ago, or 92, wait, today's the 12th? Yeah. 92 or 93 days ago, I was banned from YouTube. 90-day ban for a copyright strike. I started playing around with the streaming stuff about that time. I was doing a lot of testing. And in my testing, I just needed content to just have running because I was trying to do networking testing, see latency testing, and see how well my connection could deal with streaming for extended periods of time. Because as you've seen in some of these episodes, I can get a little chatty. I can get a little verbose, and I can start going on for a little while. Yeah, my content. Yeah, that's right. That's right, troll. So what ended up happening was that this content that I was just having streaming in the background happened to be Good Eats from the Food Network because it's one of the shows that I like. And lo and behold, I got a copyright strike on that bad boy. And they would not remove it. And YouTube said, you're not going to stream for 90 days. And I was like, out of luck, essentially, until 2 days ago, until the 10th, actually, which, ironically enough, is when this whole news cycle with Epstein happened, believe it or not. How's the timing on that one? What a quinky-dink, right? So this is basically the big picture of the day here. Let me bring up something that I've seen. And there's already conspiracy theories about this too. This guy right here. That is Mr. Epstein. Some actually allege it's a body double. So that's one of the biggest weird news items that's come out of this. I don't know, like some people are doing side-to-side comparison pictures and all this kind of stuff, and I don't know about that. The thing that I just want to kind of touch upon, and I do want to premise this whole stream with the fact that I will be the first to admit I have not done days of research with all the articles and all the garbage that's being spewed out by the media right now. There is a lot that is unknown about the situation. Anybody that says they have this huge insider scoop, they know what's going on, I can probably guarantee and promise you they are full of baloney. They don't know what they're talking about. So, when it comes to that, I would rather err on the side of caution and essentially just say, well, let's wait, see what else comes out in the news cycle, because you know more is going to come out. You absolutely know more is going to come out about all this nonsense. And like already tidbits are coming out because this situation is really unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable if you really think about it. I mean, let's try and wrap your head around this. This guy, he was arrested before in the past. Between, the Obama DOJ or other DOJs didn't even bother to do much with the prosecution. They dropped the ball in an incredible way. And then on top of that, what they end up doing. Welcome, 7 Whiskey 6 Supply. I'm checking out my chats here. I can see who's joining in now. Welcome. It's amazing to me that now that they had this guy again in custody, and he was willing to spill everything. He was willing to name names. He was willing to do whatever it took to reduce his sentence, because he knew he wasn't gonna get out of it this time. He knew he wasn't gonna get out of it this time. There was a alleged attempted suicide, and they had put him under suicide watch. Now, there's a lot of different rules and protocols when it comes to suicide watch. It just doesn't. It's not just one dude that checks on him, and that's it. There's a whole system of protocols that gets put into place when this sort of thing happens, right? And apparently, there's articles coming out now. Like, I can actually bring up a couple of these things that I've been kind of perusing and looking at, because it's this whole thing amazes me to no end. I am befuddled at how inept the New York folks were in this whole situation. I think feds were involved in this as well, how inept they were in this whole situation. Thank you, sir. Do I have that disabled? I'm not seeing the... Why am I not seeing that? That should show up in my... One second here. I'm not seeing... That is so weird. I should be able to see... I think I have the desktop. Yeah, I have my sound disabled here. Here's my... I'm getting these sounds coming. That's why I'm chuckling. I'm getting sounds coming in of donations of lemons on DLive. So if you're on DLive, you should see... I should be seeing a badge. I don't know why the badge isn't showing up here. There's like little... Huh. Interesting. Okay. Weird. For some reason, it's not showing up. Maybe there's something going on with my OBS for today, but that's fine. Because that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and keep going here. Thank you, whoever is doing all the donations. I'm unfortunately just cannot see on my screen. Hold on, let me see. One more. I'll check one more thing very quickly here. Nope, that's not the right one. Oh, Omega Man. Hey, yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, Omega Man. I see it now. There we go. Let's do this. No, we'll put it in the upper right corner here. Let's do that. There we go. Okay. Now we're cooking. Okay. So, yeah, if you're on DLive and you want to participate, by all means, join in, participate, chat, do what you need to do. And you'll definitely... We're going to open that chest at the end of the stream. So you'll be getting some lemons back if you're on DLive. But this whole situation with Epstein was that apparently there's some allegations and some, news items that have been coming out about Jeffrey Epstein's whole situation here. Like, right here, the New York Post had a very interesting article. Let me bring that up. Just take a second here. There we go. So as you can see here in the article, it's actually a pretty interesting article because it's talking a little bit about the fact that he was in federal custody, so feds were definitely involved, obviously, and he was taken off suicide watch in late July. at the request of his attorneys, according to a report. I don't know what report they're referring to here. That's the only problem. I wish that they see. This is the only thing. This is my chief complaint about news articles. A lot of times they talk about all these weird sources, reports, very anonymous, very vague. They never really pinpoint where they're getting this information from. And I understand the reason why they do that. They want to try and keep their anonymous sources anonymous, so they don't run into a lot of issues, and they can still keep getting news items from these people. And I get that. I absolutely get that. However, it makes it very difficult when you're reading through articles saying a report said this or a source gives us that. It makes it very difficult to kind of go along with everything that these articles are saying, especially with the history that media has right now, since even before the 2016 election. I mean, it was already bad before then. Then the 2016 election pretty much solidified the ridiculousness of the mainstream media. But he was found Saturday, as sources say here, 6:30 a.m. Saturday. Again, sources, whoever they are. Epstein apparently had been meeting with his attorney for up to 12 hours a day. He seemed like, and I saw other articles saying that he seemed like he was in good spirits. And they found him, hanging. He was taken off suicide watch, which requires a check every 15 minutes, despite the July 23rd incident. And they have found him with injuries to his neck. And I don't want to just go ahead and read through an entire article on stream, but I just want to kind of go over the basics. So if someone was under a rock, or they weren't aware of just some of the basic information that what's going on here, is that's the basic scenario that we're looking at right now. And you have A.G. Barr, who said that this is highly irregular, that he's taken up, because there's a whole process. You see here in this article, there's a whole process for this. If you're not part of Suicide Watch, you're put under another status, special observation status, which requires it has a whole set of protocols and rules, and you can only be taken off of it through a certain procedure. Which actually to talk about it, excuse me, right here in the article. It says, in addition, the decision to remove an inmate from Suicide Watch would normally have to be okayed by the jail suicide prevention program coordinator and then approved. Once an inmate has been placed on watch, the watch may not be terminated under any circumstance without the program coordinator or designee performing a face-to-face evaluation, according to the Federal Bureau of Prisons official guidelines that was issued in 2007. So there's a lot going on here, because there's obviously breach of protocols that happened. He wasn't being checked on properly. Apparently, in this scenario, when you're under the special observation status, as the article also says here, you have a cellmate who's in there, and apparently the cellmate was removed. There's supposed to be cameras all around this place to monitor what's going on there. Apparently, there was a malfunction in the camera. Nobody was checking on him. And somehow he manages to kill himself. So it's pretty amazing to me that this sort of thing even happened. An autopsy was performed Sunday, and the medical examiner, as it says here in the article, said that he needed more information was needed before the determination was made about his death. Most likely, they're just going to rule it as suicide. I wouldn't be surprised, frankly, if that's the case. A lot of people are, and this is the other thing that was kind of bothersome of this whole thing. I'm sorry, I just realized I was covering my little green circle. I accidentally enabled something there. My bad. Now, and it's pretty amazing to me. Again, and this is going to be a recurring theme throughout this entire stream of how befuddled I am over this whole situation, because everybody on the conservative side in Twitter and in social media and in the media and the news, everybody was saying they're going to kill him. They're going to get rid of him. This guy knows too much. Dead men tell no tales. This is the fate that waits this individual. And lo and behold, here we are. These are those situations where I hate to say I told you so. But a lot of us conservatives were saying, "I told you so. This was going to happen," and it just blows my gourd that this was even allowed to happen. What even if he didn't? This is the thing. Even if he hadn't quote unquote attempted suicide in July, to me, this guy had such a big target painted over him because he had a lot of people that there's logs and evidence that went on his Lolita Express plane to his little island of fun times, that it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if something happened. And everybody on Twitter went bananas because this comedian, Terrence Williams, put his hot take on the whole thing, saying it's highly irregular, this is ridiculous, and Donald Trump retweeted him. Donald Trump retweeted him, and everybody lost their freaking minds. It was pretty glorious. The meltdown was one of those beautiful things that you just sit back, sip your drink, and enjoy the show, essentially. It's pretty damn amazing. Pretty damn amazing, if you ask me, So now we're here. We're here that AG Barr is going to do an investigation. We have other, shifting of the investigation. There was an FBI raid on the island, I think, and in his mansion and all sorts of stuff. So the FBI has gone to gather all this stuff, and I know that this is the other thing, actually, because I was just about to say I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to be one of those people, that say, kind of like Alex Jones, that they're putting stuff in the water, making the frogs gay. I don't want to be that kind of guy that people listen to and go, that guy's a little weird. I don't think he's all together. I don't know what he's talking about. He's making all these logical jumps that aren't really logical. I pride myself in trying to be as logical and as objective as possible. I'm trying to be fact-based in everything that I say and do. And one thing that you can't help, though, you can't help but wonder. I mean, think about this for a moment. The most recent thing that came out of the feds, of the FBI, was saying, oh, by the way, if you discuss conspiracy theories, if you put forth conspiracy theories, you're a terrorist. And then this happens, and people have been shot down on Twitter and shot down on YouTube. Some people have gotten copyright strikes on YouTube discussing this topic. And this is my first stream after 90 days of being banned. So we'll see how quick I get banned again. Who knows? It's amazing. Oh, you did your first stream, Troll, on YouTube? Good for you. No, it's pretty hilarious. It is pretty hilarious that the FBI comes out and says, don't talk about conspiracy theories. That makes you a terrorist. And then out of nowhere, oh, look, a conspiracy theory that has actual legitimate, a legitimate foundation to be conspiratorial about. Because if you think about the whole situation with this guy and the people that for years, decades, he's been connected to, and there's actual evidence. Like Bill Clinton, he was on the Lolita Express 27 times. The logs show that clearly. The flight logs show that clearly. He was on there. And the other thing, they're trying to the big media and the big tech companies on Twitter. There was a trend, Clinton body count, and Google decides, you know what, we don't like that trend, and Twitter doesn't like that trend. We're going to change that. I got a picture I want to show you. I'm gonna take this off of my friend Spooky Ting here. Let me see if I can find that lickety split here. Where am I? Here you go. Because this is pretty amazing stuff. Let me see if I can find this, because when I saw this, I just kind of blew my mind. Here we go. Let me open this in the browser so you guys can take a peek see here at. Oh, whoops! I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Nope, wrong thing. I keep hitting the wrong things. Dang nabbit. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so this should be up and running here. Look at this. You have the trend Clinton body count. And then you have the trend Trump body count. Trump body count was all coming from California, liberal loony land, while the entire United States, we're talking about Clinton body count. Isn't this amazing? Isn't this amazing? Look at this just sheer trend graphic here for the sheer number of people mentioning this when it comes to this whole Epstein situation. And even though the Trump body count trend that popped up from California alone somehow trumped Clinton body count in trends? Are you joking? Look at this. And someone tweeted here. This is another tweet. I'm gonna blatantly steal this from you, Spooky, because it was just really, really, really good. This guy, Eric Spracklin, put an amazing tweet together, and I definitely want to put it up because it's absolutely worth taking a look at here. See, Google Trends results showed Trump body count searches almost exclusively are coming from California, while results from Clinton body count are coming from across the entire United States, as I just mentioned. This is the gem right here. Had there ever been a more perfect example of why we need the Electoral College? Yes. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. This is a clear example of what the left is trying to do, not only when it comes to like elections, in everything. Look at what Google is doing with the trends. Look at what Twitter is doing. And don't get me started on Twitter. I have another thing that that's a thorn in my side with Twitter right now because of the whole ridiculous, stupid interface that got redesigned by these women that apparently don't understand anything about how to design a user interface. And Twitter already, like, the user interface was not great. Let's just be honest. It was not that great. What do? They make it even worse. So, that's right, troll. Yeah, creator brain it take. The Electoral College is undemocratic. Yeah. Well, too bad for them, for the creator brains. We're a constitutional republic. And I am glad that we were designed this way, because this is exactly what the Electoral College was designed to prevent, a sort of one state monopoly over everybody, and over-representation within the government, within our, the Senate and the House of Representatives. That was the whole point of designing it that way. So the founding fathers of the United States were really brilliant when it came to that. But going briefly back to Epstein. So now what's going to happen is, as I mentioned, Honey Badger, A.G. Barr, he's going to go, and he said he's going to start an investigation into all of this because there were high irregularities that came about in this whole situation. They're gonna shift focus. Actually, the investigation is not over into all this. This is the other thing that I found very interesting. This article right here. Let me bring this up for you. Let me bring this up very quickly. So now, since Epstein's dead, there was an alleged accomplice in this whole thing, and I haven't seen any pictures of her. I don't know what she looks like, and I'm not gonna really search any much more than I already have because I can't see what's going on. But there's a woman, um, where's her name here? Because there it is, Ghislaine Maxwell. I assume that's how you pronounce her name, her first name, Ghislaine. But Ms. Maxwell apparently was the right hand woman in this case of Epstein. And it seems like that she was highly involved in the activities. She was there, and she was actually actively participating in these things, in the sexual acts and the abuse and the allegations of all of that. And there's this one girl, one of the accusers, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, which if you go through and read like articles like this, she'll talk about. They kind of list a couple of the allegations out there that she was being groomed, that she was molested, she was kind of forced to do things. Not kind of, she was forced to do things. So you have an interesting shift, because if this person was present, then all this information that maybe Epstein, took with him to his grave, it's still out there. The only problem is apparently she's overseas. She's not on U.S. soil, so it's who knows how that's gonna work out, if extradition is gonna come into play. Who knows? I really don't know. It's kind of a crapshoot situation now at this point, but the investigation is definitely not over. It's still ongoing, and it seems like that it's something that's going to keep progressing. And like I said, this thing is still in flux. This thing is still in a very unstable orbit, let's say. It's very crazy right now. And there's so much information that's coming out. I know there's going to be stuff that that I'm talking about right now. I'm sure there's going to be stuff that are just going to have to be updated when we're going to revisit this topic, because it will be revisited. I guarantee you it's going to be revisited. One thing that's rather interesting, though, in terms of the politics of this is, of course, you have some people like with the Trump body count trend, and you have some people saying, oh, Barr met with Epstein before his suicide. They're saying that, my Russian spies are coming, were involved in the suicide, excuse me, things like that. So you got a lot of these conspiracy theories, believe it or not, that seem to be part and parcel of the online division when it comes to politics. Oh, and the article's a little cut here. I apologize for that. I didn't realize my cropping wasn't proper. Let me see if I can make a quick adjustment on that while I'm talking. So I just find it very interesting that even though you have this big divide and you have people pointing the finger, accusing each other, there is one thing that has kind of also happened. You do have a kind of a bipartisan outrage that's happening as well, which is a bit interesting to me. There's some people on and the outrage may actually, before I continue, the outrage may be very well for different reasons. It doesn't necessarily mean that they agree on the reasons why they're outraged over Epstein's quote unquote suicide. But the thing is, whoops. Let me, sorry, I'm just adjusting my cropping here so you guys can get a better viewing of the article. So there's good reason on both sides to really be upset about this. Well, maybe more on one side than the other, because obviously the conservative side saw this as an opportunity, as an absolute opportunity to actually shed light on the corruption of many people. We already saw the shades open in Hollywood in their glass house about how terrible things how terrible things were there and what terrible things were happening with Weinstein, you know? And now you had Epstein that was out there that was like I said, willing to give names and willing to just spill everything and anything and throw everybody under the bus to save his own hide. Excuse me one moment, I gotta take a sip of my drink. Refreshing. So you had this already exposure with Hollywood. Epstein was another possible exposure, and the conservatives, like even myself, when I heard that he had gotten arrested, that he was willing to spill the beans, I'm not gonna lie. I was the first one of the first people to really be. I wouldn't want to use the word excited, but it really sparked an interest in me about this whole situation because it's like, oh, geez, finally some truth's gonna come out about maybe Bill Clinton, and some truth's gonna come out about other politicals. I mean, you had even people commenting that Dershowitz was involved in this whole thing. I mean, it reaches out to a lot of different people, different political spectrums. This would have been a major house of cards that would just come tumbling down. It was really freaking amazing. Very, very, very amazing. And now you have this situation that we're in. The other side, the liberal side, I'm sure they were trying to connect Epstein to Trump in some way because they saw this as an opportunity to take Trump down because that's what they've been trying to do since 2016. Even though there's nothing. You had, in 2016, there was a case that was filed. I may be able to bring this up. Let me find very quickly here. One second. Let me hide the browser for just a minute here. If I can find it. There we go. All right. There was this one tweet in particular that I found very interesting because it just shows you the nature of the political bias that we have in conversations where we should be able to agree. And this is kind of a sad commentary on the state of debating politics in this day and age. It's really sad, actually, that we can't have a civil discussion where we agree that a pedophile and other pedophiles deserve to be persecuted. And not like hunted down like animals or anything. I mean, persecuted by the law. These people need to be arrested. They need to pay for the crimes that they've committed. They need to be brought before a judge, and justice needs to happen in these scenarios. But let me just take a second for me to find this because it had to do with the case that was filed in 2016, where there was an allegation. The plaintiff was this woman who turned out to have a lot of mental issues, made up a lot of stuff, gave a false address in her claim. And I can't seem to find this anymore. Oh, here we go. Here we go. 1 minute. I found it. I just got to bring it up on Twitter here because it was a Twitter post. This will just take a quick minute. Please bear with me. If you have a drink, please enjoy it right now as I'm getting this tweet together to show you. And while I'm getting this together, I might as well do a quick, a blatant asking of support where, us conservatives, as I said, we're pretty much being digitally corralled and digitally thrown to the side, censored, harassed, threatened physically. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot that's happening right now. Oh, see, he changed his pinned tweet. I was going to show this guy here. He had a pinned tweet, apparently. This one right here. All right, here we go. I got it. Let's bring it up here. Let's see. I got to find the button. There we go. Let me make a quick adjustment on the cropping again on this. But as I was saying, us conservatives were being corralled, censored, even physically threatened, and the lives of conservatives are being threatened. So it's very important to support conservatives and conservative speakers. Not just me, but others as well. But if you find it in your hearts that you want to be supportive, like Omega Man dropping lemons in D Live, you have streamlabs.com/theeternalabyss. I ask you to please provide some support if you can. It will go only to producing content and trying to make this a better show overall, more entertaining than just listening to my voice. Maybe some more preparation, better graphics, maybe even some pre-prepared materials that can make things a little bit more entertaining overall. Still hearing lemon grabs yelling in the background. This is the tweet that I'm talking about. So like I said, if you can support streamlabs.com/theeternalabyss, I really appreciate it. But let's move on here. This guy here, Tom Hartman, apparently he has some sort of podcast. I had never heard about this guy. I happened to just see this tweet because I was perusing the Epstein trends. Because Twitter was killing everything, I just did a search with the name Epstein to see what would come up, which is a much, I guess, better way of viewing the news elements that are happening, because Twitter definitely manipulates your trends for their own, political reasons. So this is something that I found very interesting, was this case filed in the Central District of California, and it's a legitimate filing, but this happened in 2016. This was thoroughly debunked, because there may, I don't have it in front of me, but I even heard that because they're saying that Trump and Epstein, this one lady that's alleging all this stuff, she's alleging that Trump raped her, that Epstein raped her, that there was physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, all sorts of stuff. And there seems to be evidence that Trump wasn't even, with the plane logs, that he wasn't even there. He wasn't even there, and she gave a false address that send the people over to serve documents. It was an empty lot. So this guy is full of crap. So when I saw this, what does this tell you about Epstein's death, if anything? Well, it tells me that you're a biased hack. I have not seen Chris Cuomo wig out yet. Thank you, friend. Let me put this up here. Let's watch Chris Cuomo wig out. This should be entertaining. This should be wildly entertaining. Chris Cuomo is always, Mr. Medicare. Yeah, this is always entertaining. So hold on. Let me bring up the volume here real quick.
Is from The Godfather. He was that weak brother.
I know it was you.
Hold on, I gotta start.
No, punk ass bitches from the right call me Fredo. My name is Chris Cuomo. I'm an anchor on CNN. Fredo is from The Godfather. He was that weak brother.
I know it was you, Fredo.
And they use it as an Italian aspersion. Any of you Italian? Are you Italian? It's a fucking insult to your people. It's an insult to your fucking people. It's like the N-word for us. Is that a cool fucking thing?
You're a much more reasonable guy in person than you seem to be on television.
Yeah, but if you want to play, then we'll fucking play. If you got something you want to say about what I do on television, then say it. But don't call me a
Hey
fucking
man, hey,
insult.
listen.
What?
I don't want any problems.
Yeah, you're gonna have a big fucking problem.
What's the
It's a
problem?
little different on TV. Don't fucking insult me like that.
I didn't insult you.
The fuck you call me Fredo? It's like I call you punk bitch. You like that? You want that to be your nickname?
I didn't call you that.
You called me Fredo. You know my name's not fucking
I
Fredo.
thought your name was.
You did not think my name was fucking Fredo. Don't be a liar.
I thought your
You
name
want to be a
was.
man, stand up like a man.
I'm standing up, man.
You want to be a man, I'm
Yeah,
here.
I'm standing
Then
up.
fucking own it. Then own what you
Listen,
said.
man, hey.
Then own what you said.
Listen,
Take
man,
them-
I don't
yeah,
have
what?
a problem with you, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have a fucking problem.
What? What are you gonna do about it?
I'll fucking ruin
Do
your
something
shit.
then.
I'll
Do
fucking
something.
throw you down these stairs like a
something.
fucking punk.
Wow.
So you
You don't
can
wanna
fucking
do
sue?
that. You don't
So
wanna
you
do
can
that.
fucking sue?
Well, why don't you do it
Go
then?
take a swing. You wanna call me Fredo? Take a fucking swing.
I'm not gonna swing at
Take a
you.
fucking swing. Watch your fucking hands.
I'm not gonna
Take a
swing
swing.
at you.
Watch your fucking hands. Take a swing. No, come on, boy. Come on, boy. So you wanna call me shit? Call me shit then.
Hey, listen, man,
I'm right
I'm
fucking
not
here.
doing anything.
I'll fucking wreck your shit. I'll fucking wreck your shit.
Stop.
You didn't know what you were doing when
I
you
thought
called
it
me
was your
Fredo?
name,
You
man.
didn't know.
I thought it was your name.
You didn't know, right? Hey, you didn't know what you were saying, right?
I thought it was his name.
I'm breaking it up.
Wow. Holy cow. That's amazing. That is I got to gather my thoughts on that one. That is absolutely amazing. First of all, Fredo is not a racial slur. Okay? Yeah, everyone should call him Fredo. I agree, Mandalorian. What a punk. What a freaking punk. Okay, so yes, Fredo was a character in The Godfather. Yes. He's an Italian character, yes. Fredo is not a racial slur. You know, it's never been a racial slur and never will be a racial slur. Cuomo, listen to me. Fredo, pay attention. No, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And I will call you Fredo to your face. Okay? Because I'm not afraid of someone like you, first of all. First of all. Secondly, you're making stuff up because you're trying to be a tough guy. Because you don't like the fact that people criticize you and what a hypocrite you are when it comes to how you report the news. Okay? It's pretty obvious that Cuomo has a bias in his reporting. He's made it incredibly clear. Painfully clear. It is nothing unusual here. And the fact that he's trying to turn this into a racial thing, like trying to imply that this guy is racist against Italians, is absolutely stupid. And his behavior, actually, is an insult to Italian Americans. His behavior, this tough guy talking with the New York accent that he never actually has. When he's on TV, he turns it on whenever he feels like it, apparently. You want to tell me that this guy is reasonable? Come on, give me a break. This is ridiculous. Let's see some of the replies. I got some links here to show replies. Let's see some replies to Mr. Cuomo. Fredo Cuomo. Someone came in here just popping in to see how many people are calling you Fredo. Oh my god. This is so funny. Fredo. What's up, Fredo? Oh, this is beautiful. Even Cenk Uygur is mocking you. Cenk Uygur is mocking you. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Do you see this, people? Oh my god. When Cenk Uygur is making fun of a lefty, you know it's bad. You know it's really bad. Oh my God, this is so freaking funny. This is so freaking funny. It is unbelievable. And the bashing continues. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, this is glorious. This is so funny. My internet is derping out here. Okay, here we go. This is so damn funny. Look at this. Fredo, you broke my heart. Oh no, 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 no. No, this is wrong. Oh, this is so funny. Oh, this is gonna kill me. This is gonna kill me. Oh, I'm gonna be laughing so hard at this. This is gonna kill me. I can't dox certain things about myself because I'd be revealing too much. But there's a reason why this is driving me absolutely up the wall. How funny this is. Oh no, no, no. Oh, this is so good. Happy birthday, Fredo. Oh no. Oh. Wow, this is so funny. I just find it hilarious. I find it hilarious that he's trying to attribute that to a racial slur, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It was a character in a movie. Yeah, it wasn't a very flattering portrayal of a character because that was the whole point. That character was supposed to be a weak character as a opposite to the stronger character. I mean, in the Godfather movie, you had three major extremes, kind of. Not really three, two extremes. You had Sonny, the big brother, who was just a hothead extreme on one side, and Fredo, who was the weaker one, the more reserved, not really a leader type of person. That's where the difference is. Yeah. That's a good point, Solda. He probably has some sort of Fredo complex, some sort of inferiority complex because his brother is more successful. That is true. Because his brother is governor, even though he's a garbage governor of New York. New York is a hell state essentially, and New York City is a hell city. It's the infrastructure, cost of living, everything is in the pits. Ever since Rudy Giuliani left, it started going downhill, and this guy De Blasio with Cuomo, they pretty much are like just beating the state and the city with shovels. I mean, they're just killing it. Excuse me, I gotta take another sip of my drink. Oh man. Oh, I'm getting more links here. Let me share some of this. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let me pop this one up. Hold on. Wait for it. There it is. Does this offend you? Oh, wow. Oh, my God. This is beautiful. I'm sorry. This is one of those things that makes me love the internet. This is one of the reasons why I absolutely love the internet. It's things like this that bring me back to the good old days of the internet, Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Oh boy. That is very true, Soldat. Epstein might be dead, but we can still dunk on Chris Cuomo. We'll always have that. We'll always have that. It's really it's one of those things. There's a lot of people on the left that are really easy to dunk on because they're just like Don Lemon, for example. Don Lemon is an absolute idiot. A lot of the CNN hosts are, frankly. But this guy. Oh yeah. Let's see what SSEllie says about. Yeah, I can share my Discord. Hold on. Let me try and get you on here if you want. I'm actually willing to do that here. Let's create an invite. We can get some hot takes from bit waivers. Join the waiting room, and I can bring you on here. Hopefully, we'll have technology on our side. We won't have a little black cloud that's following me around. Yeah, this was something I was actually considering doing, is like taking quote unquote phone calls, or taking people coming into Discord. If you want to try and participate, come into bitwave.tv, and on my stream, you'll see. Well, I can post a link there. Hey, friend, let me put you on. You ready? Hey, you're on the air. Hello?
Hey man, can you hear me?
It sounds really bad on my end. I don't know if it sounds the same way with everybody else.
Yeah, I don't really have a mic close to me. I'm getting ready for bed, dude.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time making out what you're telling me. Sorry. Yeah, it sounds bad. Sorry, friend. I'm going to have to put you back in the waiting room. Apologies. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what I was saying. Sometimes technology, it's a little goofy. Oh, okay. All right, friend. But thanks for trying to come on. I appreciate that, sir. I'm gonna post the link again here. Anybody that wants to come on and give me like a hot take on the Chris Cuomo Fredo thing, or even just give me a hot take on Epstein. You know, I'm more than happy to kind of hear some different opinions here. Or if you just want to agree with me, I'm perfectly fine with that too. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be opposed to that. Absolutely not. Oh my god, that are you? Does this offend you? I'm still laughing at that. That is just it's a work of art. It's a work of art. So I'm gonna post the link one more time here on bitwave.tv. So if you have Discord, and this is for any platform actually that I'm streaming on, YouTube, that I'm actually on for a change. Wow. YouTube, Periscope, DLive, and Bitwave are the 4 platforms that I stream on when I'm doing political talk. And I probably will start putting the Discord link in the description. Hey, Frig. I'm going to bring you on air. Hi, Frig. Hello, hello. Are you there? Oh, Ellie? Hey, I can barely hear you. You talk so soft. I put my volume up. I think. Can you guys hear her okay in the stream? Ellie's on, man. Friend, she's on. Can you guys hear her okay? Hopefully they can hear you okay. How you doing? I'm doing fine. So have you heard about this whole Chris Cuomo Fredo thing? Oh, wait a minute. Let me okay. I pumped up the volume here in OBS. Try again.
Hello.
I had the volume put down low. That was my bad. You should be able to hear her now. Give it a second, guys. Jeez. There's a delay. Give it a second. There we go. Okay. You're on. Yeah, now they can hear you.
Okay.
No pressure or anything.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up?
Not much. I was just discussing in the stream like this whole Epstein business of the he got suicided. And apparently Chris Cuomo thinks being called Fredo is a racial slur, which is freaking hilarious to me. Because it's not.
Is that like a play on Alfredo? I don't know.
Well, have you ever seen the Godfather movies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the characters there, his name is Fredo, which
Oh,
is
okay,
short for
okay.
Alfredo. It is short for Alfredo, and
Oh, okay.
basically in the whole movie, there's three brothers that are Marlon Brando plays the Godfather, and he has three kids. One of
Mm-hmm.
them's Al Pacino, and then the other two I don't remember the names of the actors. But the point is, the oldest brother, he's a hothead. He's one extreme. He's not fit for taking over the family because he's just too crazy, too hot-headed. He always wants to go and attack people. Fredo instead is too weak. He's too mild-mannered. He's not. He doesn't have the gumption to be leader. And Al Pacino's character is the one that kind of has both, where he has a good balance. So the story, revolves around how this middle brother ended up becoming the head of the family because he had the temperament to be the next Godfather, and then he just takes out everybody. Spoiler alert! Sorry, guys.
Oh,
Um, so Fredo generally is kind of like this mamby-pamby, kind of weakling character that a lot, you kind of make fun of because he's kind of a goofball and he screws up a lot in the movie. So apparently to him,
okay.
it's a grave insult. Sorry, I'm talking over you the whole time. Go ahead.
No. I'm just agreeing. Okay, so he thinks it's an insult because it speaks volumes of his leadership skills, his political career. Am I getting this?
Well, his whole beef is this. He's Italian American, and the
Okay.
character is Italian American. I mean, they're Sicilian, which are they're Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's taking it as a racial slur. He's saying calling an Italian American Fredo is the equivalent of calling a black person the N word. And the only reason why I'm censoring myself when saying the N word is because I actually can stream on YouTube again, and I don't want to get banned again. So I'm bending down to the YouTube overlords for this stream because I literally 2 days ago I got unbanned, and I'm trying to not get banned within the span of 48 hours. So
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't blame you.
yeah, because generally I wouldn't care about saying
Okay.
the word or not. I don't believe in censorship. I believe in free speech, so I don't care about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
anyways, yeah. So Chris
goodness.
Cuomo essentially is just a goofball.
Yeah, that's just absolutely stupid. That is
It
such
is.
a dumb. Oh my goodness! Imagine thinking a fictional character is representational of racism. Oh my god.
Well, the left, they do this all the time. The left has this kind of fictional world that just floats around in their brains, about like how everything is systemic. There's racism everywhere. White supremacy is everywhere. Oppression is everywhere. When their policies are keeping like black communities under this heel of their policies, of how bad their policies are, that keeps the black community in poverty. Abortion has been targeted primarily towards black communities. Margaret Sanger, I don't know what her name is, but the lady who founded Planned Parenthood said that she wanted to use abortion to eliminate all blacks. She said so. And they
Yeah.
support that, and they're the ones that claim, "Oh, we are the high ground we have the moral high ground because we're not the racist ones." But they support her. So go figure.
Yeah.
And
Thinking
then,
about a few words right now, but I
yeah,
can't say them because you are on YouTube.
I appreciate the self censorship. And then on the same token, like because you're in South Africa, the issue that you're running into is the opposite, where there is a lot of bad things. There are a lot of bad things happening to white folk in South Africa, and the left doesn't even want to recognize it as real. They don't want to even fathom the existence of that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. It even happens here. Left here, especially, they continuously deny it. So,
Yeah.
even within my own country, it's an issue. And when you're faced with the facts and you read headlines every week, you can't imagine that anyone would think this is fiction.
Yeah, it's a scandal to me. It's scandalous that
Mm.
um, people that are suffering, and it even doesn't matter at this point, like skin color or demographic, social status. If a group of people are targeted and are being systematically harassed and even attacked, physically attacked, and in many cases even killed, because to my knowledge that has happened there in South Africa, right?
Yeah, it happens on like a weekly basis
Yeah.
almost. I can try and put up some figures, but yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's a horrifying situation. People shouldn't need to live in that sort of scenario. People should not be persecuted just because they want to live.
Mm.
And
No, it is true.
and the fact that the left, on not only here but even there, they're just dismissing it. That to me is despicable at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, um, there's not much to say because it's happening on just not on a societal level, but also like a legislation and governmental level. So there's no intervention on behalf of the government. So I mean, recently the Western Cape, which is a province or a state in the country, got a 5 million rand funding for sort of like a rural safety action plan, but they haven't detailed what they'll do, what the steps will be to enact this plan. And yeah, I just don't see how 5 million rand is going to help. I don't see how throwing money at this problem is going to help anything.
Yeah, I that sounds like a very typical political thing to do. Oh, there's a
Mm.
problem. Let's just throw money in that direction and hopefully it goes away.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
They do that here.
um,
They do that here in the United States all the time. Oh, there's poor people. Let's just do welfare programs. Oh, people want more education. Oh, let's just give them free schooling. That
yeah.
doesn't the quality. They don't care about the quality of the schooling. You know, of the education that they give in public schooling. They don't give a rat's ass about that. They're like, oh, let's just throw money at that,
Mm.
just willy nilly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think especially because um, this country has a track record of just wasting taxpayers' money, and just a lot of corruption. I don't know how that's gonna help anything.
Normally, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I've had the I've had the opportunity to live in multiple countries, in Europe
Oh.
and in the United States, and I can tell you that, yeah, the United States has its problems. Don't get me wrong. It's not
Mm.
like there's no corruption here. There's definitely corruption here, obviously, from what's coming out of the news cycles and the fake news, as Trump puts it, and all that ridiculous stuff that was going on with the FBI, IRS targeting of conservatives. There's a whole long laundry list of problems that we have here. But certain
Mm.
countries, good lord, I don't even know how they function. And these are like some of these are European countries. I'm not even talking about I'm not even talking about remote countries that are like just now, for example, starting to industrialize or have a
Mm.
very tribal way of doing things. I'm talking about supposed Western civilizations that they tax you through the nose. They're trying to push socialism on everything, and then nothing works. And you're sitting there
Mm.
you're working to pay taxes, and you're getting like nothing in return.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I
Yeah.
can imagine that must be frustrating.
Oh,
I
incredibly.
mean, we,
Oh, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
because no, it's because the means it's there, um, and generally, I think because things work quite smoothly, um, in those countries. So when something like this happens, it just it stands out in stark contrast. Whereas over here, it's almost expected,
Yeah.
and you still pay because you have to.
Yeah. There's a couple European countries that I was in for a while that you kind of it was part of the culture to an extent,
Mm,
where you had this kind of cultural thing is where you were considered kind of like a smart guy if you were able to kind of circumvent the taxes and still get away with it. So there was kind of this expectation of, yeah, okay, so the taxes are incredibly high, but at the same time, people are doing all these things to kind of underhanded things to get around it. And the more like I'm trying to think of the right word and it's not coming to me right now, but the more like uh, I guess like a wise guy you were about it, the more people would say, "Oh, that guy's really smart because he knows how to play the system." You know what I mean? And it was just part of that culture.
yeah. Oh no, I get this. I get this.
Yeah.
Mm, I was just thinking of something and now I forgot. Oh, in 2021 or 2020, they're thinking of implementing a national healthcare scheme in South Africa. So nationalized healthcare
Oh boy.
for everyone. And I've read somewhere that uh, insurance companies will essentially be obsolete, and they'll just have like complementary coverage. And that is a terrifying prospect.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
I don't know. Because even now at this point, the the clinics we have here, the state-funded clinics, they don't operate at all. Um, massive, massive bouts of corruption, to the point where they hoard medical supplies,
Yeah.
and they just never get used. So they just lock them away in a cupboard. People sleeping on floors, people having to wait hours to get any sort of medical attention. So I don't know how a nationalized healthcare scheme is going to help anything.
It probably would just make it worse.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and you have politicians here like Bernie Sanders, this 80-year-old. I think he's. I don't think he's. Well, he's getting close to 80. By the time he's if he ends up being the candidate for the Democratic Party here in the United States, the left party, um, he probably will be 80, and he's like a crackhead socialist. He wants to give
Mm,
free healthcare to everybody. He wants to do free universities for everybody. He wants to do free everything for everybody. And when people ask him, "Well, how are you going to pay for it?" "Oh, no, no, we'll tax the rich people." It doesn't
of
quite.
course.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
he has 3 private homes, and
Oh my goodness.
oh yes, and he has like I think he has a private jet, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on the private jet. So, Bernie, if you're out there, you can correct me on that one. Um, no, it's ridiculous. And then you have also like the people who are incredibly stupid, like the very stupid Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, who again is very stupid.
Mm,
Just reiterating to make it clear. Who also pushes for this sort of thing. And apparently, the irony of her espousing these kind of things is the fact that she allegedly has a degree in economics, which makes me laugh.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it blows my mind that someone with a degree in economics, how does she even pass? If that's her solution to everything, how does she even pass her classes? That makes no sense to
Mm,
me.
oh
Feel,
my goodness, no.
yeah, alt right. Feel the burn, bro. uh,
No, that's terrible.
yeah,
That is terrible.
it is, and like I said, because of my travels and the fact that I've lived in several countries, I've lived under socialized medicine, and it's garbage.
Mm,
It is absolute garbage. And if you get anything that's beyond a common cold, you're screwed. Essentially, you're not gonna find good care. You're gonna wait months and months for a specialist. If it's and then even if you find the specialist, there's no guarantee that this guy even knows what he's talking about. And if this guy or gal is not good, then you're gonna have to start the whole process over again.
Mm, yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I think it's very interesting because with America, you guys have these politicians who I wouldn't say I think they're obviously a lot more educated. I'd say in comparison to the ones we have here. I mean, our ex-president Jacob Zuma, he didn't even have a university degree. He dropped out in ninth grade, I believe, and he became the president. So it's different worlds, and it's sometimes a bit difficult to position yourself in relation to different countries, even though South Africa is a developing nation. Yeah, it's just quite difficult. It's just worlds apart.
Yeah. Well, each country, there's unique challenges that each country faces because of the history, geographic location, demographics. There's all sorts of challenges, and that is a very interesting perspective because at least from my point of view, it seems like to me a college degree is actually a detriment in some cases because the college education used to be good. It used to be, well, I mean, there was always biases and leanings. Don't get me wrong, but at least if someone really wanted to study and really wanted to learn at the university level, they had access to the knowledge base, they had access to the materials, and they could get an education, albeit the biases that were there. Now it's even worse. I mean, they're letting people into Harvard, for example, which is supposed to be prestigious. They're letting people like David Hogg into Harvard just because he was he was a student at Parkland with the Parkland school shooting that happened in Florida. And the only reason why they're letting him in isn't really because of the fact that he was a survivor of this school shooting. Is because he's a survivor that's left leaning that wants gun control. Because you have a guy on the right, also, what's his name, Kashev. I think it's Kevin Kashev. He also is a student there. He also graduated from that high school. He also, went through the whole school shooting thing like the other guy did. Yeah, because he's right-leaning and he opposes gun control because here we have our beautiful Second Amendment that guarantees the right of people to have guns. Harvard had first accepted him, and then they said, "Nah, we changed our mind."
Oh my goodness, I never even heard of that.
Yeah.
I know he accepted, but he turned away. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, apparently I did a stream about this actually because apparently he used the N-word when he was very young. Because he's a kid. I mean, he's still a kid. He's not even 20.
Yeah.
And apparently when chatting and goofing around with buddies or friends, he used the N-word in jest. And apparently that was the offensive thing beyond all offensive things. And they use that as the excuse to say, we don't want you here.
Okay.
Even though, I'm sorry to interrupt, but even though, one last tidbit about that, even though he wrote a very long letter apologizing and explaining why that language was used at that time, giving context, and he apologized. He said that he matured, He showed maturity, actually, in saying, hey, you know what? You guys consider that I did something wrong. I think it's wrong, too. I apologize for that. I've grown from this experience, et cetera, et cetera. And they still are like, the funny part is, like, their reply was, oh, yeah, we appreciate that. That's really good that you've learned from your experience. Still no.
Oh my goodness. No, he was a very insufferable twat. Sorry, I don't have another word. Oh my goodness. So I'm glad he didn't get in. Glad he has faced the wrath of, I don't know, an institution, just because he was getting so much attention and he was everyone's little poster boy. So I'm glad he got knocked down a few pegs.
Well, no. I think you're confusing him with David Hogg.
This is the right wing guy.
Yeah, the right wing guy.
Oh,
He was the
okay.
one that that
Okay.
used the N word, and they knocked him out
Oh,
because he doesn't want gun control. Instead, the guy that wants gun control, he got actually David Hogg. He got rejected by like 6, 7 universities, and then Harvard's like, we'll take you.
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Wasn't
Harvard is a
the
joke.
yeah. I'll get back to why a college degree isn't necessary in a moment. But wasn't this right wing guy also pro gun control at first?
No, not too
And then he
much.
went on.
Not
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not too much. I mean, he was pro Second Amendment, which means like
Mm,
when you're in the United States and you're pro Second Amendment, that essentially means that you agree with what the Second Amendment stands for, that people have
mm,
a right to defend themselves against outside forces or a tyrannical government, because
mm.
that's really what the
Yeah.
purpose was, is so you can form a militia, you can have arms, that you're not that the citizenry can defend themselves against any threat, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the thing about that though is like you have some people that are right leaning that even though they agree with the Second Amendment in principle, they say, well, some safeguards could be put in place, like background checks, making sure that guns don't get in the hands
Mm,
of people with mental health issues. And in theory, yeah, I mean, there's nothing too unreasonable if you look at it at the surface to say those kind of things, but then
mm.
you have to look at the execution of that. And that's where things can get a little murky. Like right
Yeah.
now, you have the red flag laws that are being considered, and which even President Trump said that he thought may be a good idea. And in theory, they even may be. But the problem is, I can guarantee you, you're gonna have judges that are going to abuse that. They're going to
Mm,
use that to target people. The left here in the United States are taxing organization that's part of the government, the departments that taxes people and collects money, that can jail people if
mm-hmm.
you don't, if you don't pay your taxes. Left people in there were targeting conservatives, giving them a hard time, auditing
Oh.
them, making it so they would not get like or because if you're if you're a nonprofit organization, you can get a special status, so you don't pay a lot of taxes, you hardly pay any. And a lot of
Oh.
churches, for example, here have that.
Oh.
And
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they were targeting these people, giving them a hard time, not giving them that special status because they were conservative political organizations. So
Wow.
they were making them. They were making it more difficult for conservative organizations to go out and do whatever they wanted to do, like which was kind of push for conservative policies and go around doing the grassroots kind of thing. And so it's amazing that these people on the left still want more government involvement in people's lives, and the reason is because they want to control it, they want to abuse it, they want to abuse those systems, they want to push their beliefs whether you like it or not.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, I never knew this. Like, I always knew about the gun control debates, like the main points, but I just never knew it was so institutional. Um,
Yeah.
that's quite frightening. I mean, same here. There's been a lot of talk about wanting to take guns away, um, especially guns from private residences. Sorry. And I mean, within our context, if you don't have any means to defend yourself, um, That really is a life or death situation. But wow, I never knew it was so institutional in America.
Yeah, it's enshrined in our Constitution, because that's basically one of the basic principles that our founding fathers, as we call them,
Mm, mm,
believed in and used to fight against the English in the Revolutionary War.
yeah.
So, because they were able to arm themselves against a tyrannical government, when they formed
Mm,
our Constitution, their whole goal was, well, let's make it so a government can't be tyrannical again. Let's make it into three branches: the judicial, the
mm,
executive, the legislative branches. Let's make it so there's checks and balances. Let's make it so people can arm themselves, because eventually government can always be tyrannical. You never know. So
mm,
they they protected themselves in that manner, and that's why, our government for the longest time has been very much in check when it comes to that sort of
mm,
thing. And you have people that just want to keep disarming and disarming and making it difficult and more difficult for law-abiding citizens to
mm,
they've done nothing wrong. They're following all the rules that they put in place. They're following the law. They're educated about gun use. They don't go around, like cowboys shooting. They're not like Yosemite Sam and Roden Brothers cartoons going, shooting it in the air. they're they're law-abiding citizens, and yet
mm,
they use the violence that happens from it, the school shootings or the mass shootings. They
mm.
use those as an excuse to try and take guns away from law-abiding citizens, and it's terrible in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. No, that is awful. That's
A-
awful.
Absolutely. And
Gosh, sorry. I
in
just don't know.
That's
Hmm.
all right. I was
Sorry.
actually wondering, in South Africa, is it something that's in the law there, in the constitution that you guys have? Like, I'm honestly, I will admit my ignorance when it comes to South African, like the structure of the government and how the laws are. I really don't know a whole lot about that, so that's why I'm curious to get your take on that.
Mm. Oh, no, 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 never mind. Oh, don't worry, sorry. No, we also have a constitution, I'd say. It is a liberal democracy.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we have a Bill of Rights. Um, and you have the means to defend yourself. I'm just a little bit fuzzy on guns in particular. But yeah, we definitely do. I mean, South Africa has been praised with having the most ethical constitution on earth, or one of
Nice.
the most ethical ones, yeah. But I mean, it's a bit tricky. Um, but yeah, we do have that thing where um, you can act in self-defense, and then they weigh up sort of, was it, did you have comparable power with the person who was attacking you, i.e., did he have a knife and you had a gun? Are you female, male, that sort of thing.
Oh, really? They actually go into that granular detail.
Yeah, yeah, because there are instances where you can go to jail even if you were defending yourself.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so there's actually a thing where people give advice to others and they say, um, if someone breaks into your house, you shoot them dead and then you shoot the roof or something, because your neighbors will hear two gunshots and they'll think one of them was a warning shot and then the second one was the kill shot. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Interesting. Very
yeah.
interesting. That's definitely good advice if
Yeah.
that's how the laws are set up. I mean,
Mm,
here in the United States, you also have self-defense laws.
mm,
To my knowledge, and I'm not an attorney, so I could be wrong on this, but to my knowledge, there really isn't too much of um, in a case where someone kills someone else in self-defense. I think that the litmus test that we have in the United States is, was it really self-defense, or were you actually just going out to kill someone essentially? Like, there are laws, for example, and Andy Worski, who does streaming here, would know about this because they brandished the gun and they got arrested because they brandished the gun in a conflict when it was unnecessary. In Florida, I was in Florida, I believe. So states, that's the thing too. The state laws, each state is a little bit different. So each state has their own laws along with the federal government. So because the federal government kind of has the last word in certain things, state laws can vary, but they also have to abide by federal laws.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
yeah, it's a very, and that's another thing that's a very interesting dynamic of the United States is that before, when we started forming as a country, we weren't a country at all. We were just independent states that had their own government,
Same.
and they ruled
Yeah.
their pieces of land as they saw fit, according to whatever their problems were. So that's another reason why we have this interesting kind of unique representational system that we have. Which, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. I've seen worse.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, sorry.
no, go ahead.
We have our judicial system. We have a high court.
Mm,
But essentially, it's every province or state abides by the same rules.
mm,
So, like you guys have a judge and a jury.
yeah.
We just have a judge. So, we don't work in terms of that.
Mm,
Yeah, and we also have what's called culpable homicide. So it is when a person dies, but the intent was not murder.
yeah.
So just to, yeah.
We have something similar here. We call it involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, where if you end up killing someone by accident, it's not, you don't have the same level of culpability. If it was a premeditated murder.
Yeah, same thing here.
Yeah.
I know it's quite controversial with road accidents. So if you kill someone who was negligent on their behalf in a road accident, so it's a pedestrian and they were drunk, there's actually a high chance that you could go to jail. So I actually know someone who landed in that situation, and it was absolute nightmare for this person.
Oh, I can imagine. And actually, in the state, not the state, was it the state? I'm not sure if it's the state of New York did this, but I know the city of New York, they changed the laws in the city because there's such a
Oh,
huge amount of pedestrians that
yeah.
wander all over the place in New York City, because there's like millions of people here in the city, in that city. And the ridiculous thing about it was that, I mean, it did happen that people were getting hit by cars, by pedestrians. You know, the pedestrians were getting hit by cars. And it so happened that, unfortunately, this young boy got hit by a car, by a taxi, and got killed. He died, unfortunately. The mother happened to be someone who worked with the current mayor of New York, de Blasio, who's an absolute
Okay.
ridiculous individual. Let's put that aside for a moment. So she pushed change in the laws here, which passed, which basically state that if you hit a pedestrian for any reason, you're assumed guilty. And then
Oh, yeah.
you can get your driver, especially if you have a commercial license. Your driver's license can get revoked immediately. So you're living what you do to live off of, you can immediately stops. And then
Wow.
and then on top of that, you have to prove that it wasn't your fault. But the thing is, the laws are set up in a way that even if it wasn't, I mean, even if the pedestrian jumps in front of your car, you're still assumed guilty and you will be culpable for it, if you broke any of the traffic laws while this happened, like if you go 1 mile per hour, because we have miles per hour here instead of kilometers, if you go 1 mile per hour above the speed limit in the city, and you happen to, and someone jumps in front of your car and you happen to kill them, guess what? You broke the law. You were speeding.
Okay.
So you couldn't
Yeah.
stop in time, according to that. So, and to me, this is especially like crazy because in America, the most basic philosophy of our legal system is innocent until proven guilty. That you're assumed innocent, and whoever's accusing you of a crime, they have to prove that you did it. And if they don't have evidence to prove that you did it, you walk.
Wow. I think it works somewhat in a similar fashion over here as well.
Mhm.
I'm very fuzzy on those laws because I don't know. It's just judicial system is very complicated over here. But yeah, I think it works pretty much along the same lines as well. Yeah, where also if it's a drunk person walking into the middle of the road and you hit them, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad. It's very bad. Think that your life could just, in an instant, 2 lives completely ruined.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing because you have some similar things. Like I said, in New York City, you have similar kind of laws like that. But even there are some scenarios that culpability when accidents happen of that kind, it's hairy business to kind of sort through sometimes because there's a lot of factors that play into it. If someone was drinking, if someone was playing with their phone while they were driving, I mean, it could be that both parties had some contribution to it. But at the same time, it's like, well, if I'm driving and I'm following all the rules of the road and then someone just jumps in front of me, how am I, even if I was speeding per se, let's pretend I was breaking the law and I was speeding. If the guy jumps in front of me, there's no possible way I can stop, even if I wasn't speeding.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yet certain places.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yes. And that gets really tricky, but then, because then you need to prove through all those technicalities that you actually stopped in time, and they have to measure things, and it gets so messy.
Yeah, and then you also have to consider the competency of who's involved in the investigation, because sometimes when you have accidents, if the police are inept at doing their investigation or they don't do things properly, they don't write everything down the way it's supposed to, they don't take proper pictures. Like I've known of situations where there's fatal accidents and they were taking pictures and this is before digital cameras. This is when I'm aging myself, I know, but this is when there was film and cameras. And you had to, roll the film and then develop it and all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm just trying to explain it for the millennials out there, if anyone listens that are millennials by chance. And these people, there was an accident. Police showed up, took a bunch of pictures. Oh, no film in the camera.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, those mistakes, dime a dozen over here.
Oh, yeah.
I knew someone who they were speeding, sorry. This person was speeding, and then when they went to check the cameras, the person never recorded the speed. So they got that fine just swiped. Yeah. I mean, it's to this point where we have all these problems where it's just so much incompetence, but you laugh at it and you make jokes because what else can you do at this point?
Right. Yeah. No, I completely understand because, like I said, because I lived in other countries, I saw levels of incompetence that were mind boggling. And it was mostly because these people had their position, not because of any merit, not because they deserved that position. They just knew someone who knew someone who said, "Hey, you wanna work in a cushy job in the city hall? Yeah, you're a barber. It doesn't matter. Come on, I can help you out." So you have someone who probably was a great barber. I'm not even dissing the guy, for example, in this example, but he's just not trained to do that sort of clerical work. He doesn't know the processes. If someone goes and says, "Well, I need a passport or I need an ID card," they're gonna go like, "Well, I don't even know how to do that," because he just happened to have handed this job to him because of friendships and connections.
And good old nepotism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that is yeah, that's South African politics in a nutshell.
yeah.
Um,
That's a lot of European politics,
oh,
believe it or not.
absolutely. Oh, is it? See, I would never know this. This is I'm in a very insular society over here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. Once you start opening your eyes to all that and seeing how bad it really is, it's mind blowing. And you even start, like, I was wondering, how does this country even function? That they're able to do anything, really. And then you hear stuff in the news that just, it's amazing, the stuff that you hear in the news of the
Yeah.
corruption that's in the government, like people getting arrested and they find gold bricks in their house, and then they interview the wife of this politician and go, they found gold bricks under your couch. Do you have any comment on that? And the wife would go, I have no idea. I don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you're not aware of gold bricks in under your couch. Yeah, I'll believe that.
Exactly. Some gosh, like I said, it's at this point where you just how else are you can deal with this? You can do protests, which we do all the time. South Africa is one of the, I think we were nicknamed the protest capital of the world.
Bye, friend. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah,
friend has said bye
no,
to us.
that's fine. Bye, friend. Yeah. So, like, what are you going to do? That's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But the thing is that I may rag on some countries like that, like European countries, because I lived there, so I kind of poke fun at their system. But at the same time, there are some positives, believe it or not, even if they have
Oh, I
such weird
think you cut
systems that
out
way.
for me.
Hmm?
Sorry, I think you cut out a little bit for me.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, believe it or not, even though I do rag on some of these companies, I kind of dunk on them. I do also appreciate certain things about those countries and some of the cultures about them, the food, the history, because a lot of these countries do have a very rich and long history, and they have a lot of cultural contributions that they made to the world. I love art, for example, so I love European art, and I love art not only from Europe. I also love like Asian art and different types of art of different countries. I find them fascinating to see. It's fascinating to see the differences, but it's also fascinating to see how cultures that are completely separated from each other kind of also
Yeah,
develop the same artistic styles in different ways. Because human nature kind of thing, nature, nurture.
yeah.
Um,
Mm,
so that's something that I find fascinating. And Europe in general, I love the food there. I love I love a lot of things about Europe, but politically and economically and all that kind of stuff, it's an absolute disaster. It's really bad.
yeah. No, I just never would have thought, um, because living in the global south, you sort of picture the global north place that you overwhelmed by your own shittiness. um, yeah, so it's always interesting to hear these sort of things because, especially if you're going to go over there and you're going to immigrate,
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. There's no single country on this earth, that's perfect in every single.
Yeah, and there never will be because human
Mm.
beings, by their very nature, we're flawed beings. So
Oh,
the best that we can do is recognize our flaws. Oh, sorry, getting messages in Discord.
okay.
Something apparently happened. And he thought it was me, but it wasn't me. Um, Spook was sending me messages. But I was saying, like, I think the best thing that people can do, and I guess we can kind of end the stream on this note, is because I don't want to keep you on here too long, and I've been already streaming for
Um,
about 2 hours now.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's an hour and 55 here, so I'm thinking this is a good point to leave. I think that if people recognize just that, we're flawed beings, we're not perfect, and I think that first recognition, like there's this old saying about if you're an alcoholic, the first step is recognizing you have a problem. And then from there,
Mm.
you can start resolving your alcoholism. And I think that applies to a lot of things in life, not just alcohol. So if people realize,
Yeah.
yeah, we have our biases, yeah, we're kind of screwed up, we make mistakes. I think that we as just human beings in general, we can start then recognize, hey, that bad thing is happening in South Africa. We need to fix that. This bad thing is happening in Europe. We need to fix that. This bad thing is happening in America. We need to fix that. Without going into all these like
Yeah.
tribalisms and biases and all these like me against you, you against me, but unfortunately, people that it's kind of our nature to be kind of in this groupie mentality, like, oh, it's my side against your side.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately a part of what it is to be human, and it's kind of a sad situation.
Yeah. No, I get it. There's a little bit of contention for me there. Just because I I don't know. I think a lot of sort of just because of nature of where I live, and I've witnessed this firsthand.
Yeah,
Um, because um, I have a love for the people around me. I don't want to see anyone struggle. I
sure.
want what's best for everyone. Um, and sometimes that may require difficult decisions, but I think we can make those decisions from a place of caring and love and kindness as well.
Yes, those are very noble sentiments.
Which, yeah, it's maybe a little bit naive, but I don't work in politics, so it's fine.
No, I don't necessarily think it's naive. I think it's a good way to view things because I too like and this is something that I don't really hide about myself. I am Catholic, and at the core of Catholicism, one of the basic teachings is we are all children of God. We are all of equal dignity, and as such, we should treat everybody in that manner. We should treat everyone in a respectful way because we are all of equal dignity. So it kind of mirrors what you're saying is that if we look at people with value for who they are and what they are, then kind of like you're saying, we can start resolving issues in a caring way, in a loving way, in a way that doesn't take away dignity from people. And
Yeah.
it may be a better way to approach certain problems, but you do, and you're absolutely right, as you said before, certain problems you have to make the pragmatic choice. Sometimes the pragmatic choice is not the easiest choice, it's not the most pleasant choice. Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Oh, of course. That's going to come coming way. We're going to make this choice, but it's going to have these consequences, and it's difficult.
Yeah, but it seems like there's a little
It's
bit of a
very iron.
connection. There seems like there's a little bit of a connection issue going on because you're kind of coming in and out a
Oh,
little bit. So But I really appreciate you coming on the stream. It was really nice talking to you, and it's always a pleasure just listening to you. You have a very, very lovely voice, and I'm sure many people have said that to
Thank
you.
you. It was fun.
Yeah, it was very fun for me too. I want to thank you, and I want to thank everyone for watching. And if you don't want to hear politics, I also do some gaming streams. I haven't really been doing much lately because I've been so incredibly busy, and I got a new Nintendo Switch, so I'll probably do a few more now. So, because I sometimes I like to escape from politics and video games. Unfortunately, politics are seeping into video games, but I try to isolate myself from that stuff when I'm gaming. So check that out. I have a separate name for that kind of stuff. But again, thank you, Ellie, for coming on here, and I want to thank everyone for watching on all the platforms on YouTube, Periscope, Bitwave, and DLive. And I'm gonna wish everyone good night now. Thank you.
Right.
That is right, actually. That is absolutely right. Before hold on. It's blasting in my ears here. Let me lower my volume in my head. I did say I was gonna open that chest before I closed the stream, so let me go ahead and do that. Thank you for the reminder, sir. I appreciate that. Let me go to the channel here. Here we go. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and open this bad boy here. What? Ah, I tried to add Linos to the chest. It won't let me do it. What's going on? Oh my gosh. Thank you, Omega. Wow. Thank you very much, sir. I'm trying to add more points to the chest here so I can distribute more, but it's not letting me add it. So we're gonna have to figure something out here. That is so weird. I'm gonna have to talk to DLive support to see what's going on with that. But I want to thank you very much for all the support again. Like I said, I do appreciate everyone that was watching. I appreciate SSEllie that joined us here, even though her name was different on the stream, but that's what she calls herself on Bitwave. And like I said, for everyone, please support conservatives, support this stream, and streamlabs.com/theeternalabyss. And I want to thank everyone very much. And I'm going to open that chest. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot in there because it won't let me transfer more. I wanted to put more in there, but it won't let me do it. But everyone have a wonderful night. Thank you. Good night, kids.